and I saw a big crowd out in front of that house. So I stopped, and I thought, what's going on? They said, well, we're going to auction off this house today. And I said, oh? And so I said, how much? And they said, well, they don't know yet. So they got my bid. Now, I had no idea it was going to buy a house, but I always admired that house. It's been empty for several years. And so I bought the house, didn't have a nickel. But I knew the president of Busey Bank, because I was buying a house through Busey Bank at the same time. So I went over there and I talked to the president of the bank. I was running the elevator at Kaufman's. And so he said, well, how much? And I told him, and he said, well, let me go over there and look at it. And I said, well, I've already signed a contract. I've got to have some money. He said, well, I'll go right away. And the bank gave me money just like that. Just like that. I didn't have a penny. But Mr. Busey, Paul Busey, and he knew me because my husband had worked at the post office and the bank before he passed away. So that's how I bought that house. And there was a Marco's junkyard across the street. All the little Rivers children and all, but there was mice and rats and junk. So when I moved in, I called what was his name, the mayor, McCullum. And I didn't know him, and he didn't know me, but I told him what was going on and what we'd like to do. And he came out, and Al Rivers and I and the city helped clean up that junkyard. You remember what a junkyard it was? Do you remember the junkyard?
I remember the junkyard, yes.
It was a junkyard. I mean,
It's
it
a
was
real
mice
bad
and rats and
yeah.
snakes. But they cleaned it up right away. They didn't hesitate a bit. And but Al helped. He was on the police force, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my wheels rolling. It's kind of early in the morning. I've had a bad night.
Oh, that's
you ever
okay.
have I heard it's better today. I've been taking Tylenol, but I've been grunting and groaning all. But anyway, that's how we got the park cleaned up, the yard cleaned up, and the city made a park. They planted shrubs and cleaned it up very nice, didn't they?
Real nice, yeah.
And then they put on didn't they put on a concrete place for
basketball.
Yeah. The city really worked with us wonderful. We had we formed a group. It was called the Park Street Group, and all the neighbors, the Hineses, and I can't remember some of the people that lived on in that block. Remember the neighbors on the corner? The lady had a lot of children. What was her name? Had it right on the corner next door to me.
I can't remember.
Well, anyway, the neighbors all got together and the city worked with us and cleaned it up, and then she grew up, and she was a little baby then. She grew up and she was an artist. And the city gave you, who furnished your material for your...
The Park District.
The Park District. And the city worked very wonderful and made a wonderful playground. They had a basketball court and park benches and trees. It was really a beautiful park. I wish I had pictures. Do you have pictures of the park?
A few. I have a few pictures. In the slides that I had left, for the documentation of this, there's pictures of the guys playing basketball in the park.
Yeah.
And some pictures of the park.
Because it was a junkyard, Marco's junkyard. When I moved there, and I mean it was a junkyard too.
Yeah.
And piled and piled. But everybody was very cooperative and had no problems. And the neighbors came in and the city came in. And so that's how we got the park. And then she came along.
Okay, Miss Gray, what we need
Do you
to
mind if I turn
on the
this light
light?
on so we can see your face? Do you mind if I turn this light on so we can see your face?
No.
Did you want me to record
And then,
Yeah.
Just turn it.
Okay.
Turn it
Were you
twice,
recording
turn it
it?
Yeah.
twice.
Okay, good.
There.
Okay.
There you
go. Dominique,
Also, Miss
when
Gray,
you're
we need
recording,
you
there's
to
a red
sign
dot, right?
this
Okay.
release form for us.
You want me to read it out to you?
Now what is this
It's very
for?
small print. It's so that we can use your information on our website.
Well, it's a release form.
Yeah. You want me to read the small text out to you out loud? It's very small.
it's nice that we remember what, and you know, the brick streets, they were gonna cover that with concrete, and I wasn't up one, and I heard a big machine out in front, and I ran downstairs, and it was a very big machine, and I ran out, and I said, what are you doing? They said, we're gonna put, we're gonna cover up these bricks with concrete. I said, well, these are beautiful bricks. You shouldn't cover them up with concrete. And I said, you just wait a minute, I'm gonna call the mayor. I didn't know the mayor then, but he knew me then. And I told him what was going on. And those men stopped that machine. And the mayor came right out. And he stopped them from covering that beautiful brick street with concrete. And it's still a beautiful street, isn't it? It's a
Yes,
beautiful
it is.
brick street.
It's still
But they were
a
gonna
beautiful
cover it
brick
with
street.
concrete. And I was out there in my nightgown. They thought this old woman was, well, I wasn't old then. They thought she was crazy. And I said, but they stopped that machine, and they didn't cover up that, they didn't put concrete on those beautiful bricks. And we planted trees. The neighbors, we had a block club, and all the neighbors didn't cooperate, but a lot of them did. And we planted trees. Now, some of the trees are still there. My trees are still there in the front. The cherry trees, the peach trees, and trees I planted in the back, they've all torn down.
Yeah,
There's
they've been
garages.
torn.
They've torn all complete. I had fruit trees and a grape arbor in the back. But the neighbors all came in and helped. All the neighbors came in and helped.
So all of them had some kind of gardens and stuff in the backyards.
Pardon?
And in the front. I said most of the neighbors had some kind of garden in the backyard in the front, because my grandfather had the rose arbor in the front.
Yeah.
Okay, we need you to sign this for us.
Can you sign where the X is?
I hope I can write today. I'm sorry. Got the wrong date. I was sick. I didn't sleep very well after.
Okay, now, Ms. Gray, we have some questions that she's going to ask you.
Okay, now talk loud.
Okay. Alright, so we're just going to start with some background questions. The first one is, where were you born and when?
I was born in Paris, Illinois, 1916, I think. Paris, Illinois, 1916, I think that was right.
Okay. And when did you come to Champaign?
Pardon?
When did you come to Champaign with your family?
Oh, well, there were 5 Negro girls and only 2 Negro boys in Paris. And on Saturday night, the city put up a big platform and a tent for the young people to come and dance out in the park. And of course the girls danced together. We didn't dance with those 2 boys in Paris. They were just like girls to us. But the boys in Danville, they finally found out about it, and they started coming. 2 of us married boys from Danville. But we, the city put up a platform, a tent, and they had the dances out there on Saturday night for the young people. And it was a lot of fun. That was our, otherwise, all we did was, have picnics. We had a lot of picnics. And of course we all went to church, Sunday school and church. But that was part of our living and part of our recreation. It was a very quiet life because everybody had a lot of children. Women had a lot of children then. Everybody had 4 and 5 and 6. I think Mrs. One the Negro woman had 9 children. And it was, I haven't forgotten everything. I know that we were happy and we were healthy. We had measles, we had chicken pox, and we had the mumps. But everybody had them, They don't have that anymore. I don't think you have chicken pox or mumps.
Not as much
I
as
think
they used
people
to.
have, I haven't heard mumps for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think they still have measles, don't they?
Yeah.
And
But chicken pox.
And chicken pox.
mumps,
Chicken
I
pox
think
is
they give you
coming back.
Yeah. I think they give you shots, preventive medicine. Everything's preventive now. Preventive shots.